I would say the entirety of the Spongebob game can't particularly be taken seriously, especially given the fact that you mostly gain health by collecting fresh clothing items. Okay, I never thought this day would come. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our latest video, where today we're going to be exploiting the game SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. I never thought this day would come. Looking back at my past, I don't believe I'd ever be able to do a video on SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, copyright of Nickelodeon. I never thought I'd make a video on it because A, I don't particularly watch that much SpongeBob, B, I never played the original game that this is a remastered of, and C, this is a SpongeBob game, why on earth would there be exploits in it? But it turns out there's plentiful quantities of exploits, all of which need to be shown off today for your entertainment. So that's exactly why I'm here. So ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into a brand new game of SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. In order to join our sponge under the sea, be sure to make sure that you're sat back, relaxed, and you're ready for this video. I'd say make sure you have a nice warm cup of tea in front of you, but given the fact that the UK over the last week has suddenly achieved the same surface temperature as the sun, I'm pretty sure you can get away with things like water and iced tea. I know, I'm being very generous, but my goodness, it is absolutely melting outside. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into this video. Now, this game is effectively just being released, and consequently, when a game gets recently released, you know what that means. It means there are many exploits and bugs. So let's go see what ones we can find in SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. You know, let's start a brand new save file.
Welcome
here we go. It's Bikini Bottom. So, welcome into the game, ladies and gentlemen. Here in front of you is SpongeBob. He might look a bit different to how you remember him, mostly because he's now in glorious 4K graphics, and I kind of find that a little bit disturbing visually. But the storyline basically goes as follows. Plankton, the ingenious little bit of plankton he is, has created an army of robots with the intent to try and destroy Bikini Bottom in order to gain the Krabby Patty formula. However, Plankton accidentally had the switch which was meant to be set to obey to don't obey, and consequently all of his robots have overthrown him and are going about causing chaos. So it is going to be up to SpongeBob to fix this mess. And here, of course, is the legendary Gary, reminding us that we should read all of these signs in order to learn how to play the game. But here we are, we're in. Now, this is the tutorial area, ladies and gentlemen. There's some very fun things to do around in here. We need some shiny objects to go into that room. That's fine. And I've just run around SpongeBob's house in order to gain all of the shiny things necessary to open up this door. There we go, and now that we're in, we've gained access to the golden spatula, which will allow us to exit SpongeBob's house. At least I hope it does. Yes, it does. Exit SpongeBob's house. Perfect. So now that we've exited, we're now onto the main street outside of his house. Oh, look at this beautiful place. Now I'm just going to skip 90% of the game because I don't actually need to particularly know what's going on, beyond the fact that this is just one of those fun little adventure games where you get to walk around. Now, Bikini Bottom is a lovely place. It's got all of these fantastic characters for you to talk to, and you can go about and do their quest and help them out. And the thing is, there are actually a bunch of missions to do. You see, we are just in one location of many. As you can quite clearly see, this is the entire map of the game. We start here in Bikini Bottom, and we can actually fast travel here. Over to our left, we have, say, Mermalair, and to the left of that, the Chum Bucket Lab, which is actually, if you gain access to it, the final mission of the game. But of course, we can't gain access to it because, as we can see, we haven't received the task to get there, so we can't travel there. Or maybe we can. But I'm going to wait on that for a second. We're going to go say hi to Squidward, who's hiding in his house here. Basically, he's upset that his entire day is being ruined. But my favourite thing about the Squidward household, beyond all the fun memes that they have on the wall, is that effectively you're meant to destroy all of his furniture, you name it, all of his lovely little sculptures, get rid of it, all of his music stands, and of course his head. And only then will he give you a prized sock. So basically we've been paid by Squidward to stop harassing him by giving me a golden spatula. Perfect. Oh, yes. It turns out it's very easy to get your friends to do whatever you want when you destroy 90% of their household items. Oh my, look at that handsome devil on the wall. My goodness. Now, of course, as you can see over there, we can't actually go to the Chum Bucket. There's quite simply a massive barrier in the way. Yet technically we could just walk on over to the Goo Lagoon, but actually the game has a couple of systems in place to stop you from doing that. If you try and jump over here, well, you're going to get the magical hand come in across the game and take you out. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this game is designed so that you have to do it in a linear progression pattern and you cannot cheat. Or at least that would be the case. Because it turns out, ladies and gentlemen, this game can be finished relatively easily. You see, we've been messing about and wasting wasting time. We haven't even gone and defeated the final boss yet to finish the game. But how on earth would we go about visiting the final boss? Well, it's actually very easy, ladies and gentlemen. To pull it off, you're only going to need a keyboard and controller. And I'm about to pull it off, and then I'll explain what's happened. You see, I want to go over to the Chum Bucket Lab here, which is the final mission in the game, and by doing so I can then immediately do the final boss fight and win. But how on earth can I get over there when I haven't done any other missions? Heck, I haven't even done the tutorial yet. Well, it turns out the easiest way to get over there is by quite simply using the fast travel system. You see, what I've done is I've just activated the taxi to get to Bikini Bottom, which is where I'm already at, but I'm actually going to back out of that, say no thank you, and then hover over the Chum Bucket, where I'm then also going to immediately try and call for a taxi. And there we have it. We're now in the final boss fight of the game. I mean, I've seen games break, but I've never seen the ability to fast travel from the tutorial starting zone into the final boss fight, which you can beat immediately and quite easily, because it's not like there's an RPG level up system and you actually need to be level 420 to even stand a chance against the final boss. No, you have all of your abilities from the start of this game, as you do 6 hours down the line when you've completed all the side quests. Oh my god, this game is insane. It took literally 4 clicks. 4 clicks, that's all it needs to get to see the final boss. I've seen videos of people trying to find out how few clicks they can do to try and beat levels on a game, but I never think I've seen a game quite like this. I mean, if you timed it correctly, I'm sure you could probably beat the game with about 7 clicks. Oh my goodness, what have they done to you, game? What have they done to you? Those precious developers, they've destroyed your balance. It's okay, I'll make sure everyone knows, and only then will they fix you. Oh no, and now the robot has gone all weird and it's making a bunch of funky noises. Thing is, if you're a speedrunner, you can probably do this a lot quicker than I can, but you know, I would say the entirety of the Spongebob game can't particularly be taken seriously, especially given the fact that you mostly gain health by collecting fresh clothing items. Don't really know how to describe 90% of this game, but it's quite unique to say the least. Right, I've almost won at this point. He's only got 2 more health bits. Right, so back up I go. There we go. And jumping, and jumping, and jumping. It's just all about jumping. There we go. Just keep on jumping around in a circle. You've seen Dark Souls bosses, well now get ready for Spongebob bosses. Quite possibly the most difficult boss fight in the entire universe. Great job, and then we've got just one last bit. Bam! We've done it! We've defeated Spongebob as Spongebob. That's the final boss fight complete. Lovely. My goodness. Poor Roboplankton, he's not happy with this. So there we go, that's how to effectively get to the Chum Bucket and try and defeat the final boss. Which actually I can now skip because I managed to get to the second part of that level. So effectively you can trigger the start of any level at any point if you really like. But allow me to demonstrate how we actually did this. So basically what you want to do is go to a place which you can fast travel from, in my case Bikini Bottom. And what you're going to quite simply want to do in order to fast travel is to hit the 2 fast travel buttons at the same time. You might be thinking, well, there's only 1 fast travel button in this game. If you're playing on keyboard, then it's spacebar to go into this menu and then spacebar to travel, which is a brilliant way of trying to fast travel. But if you're trying to limit yourself to only 1 medium of fast travel, then I'm afraid you can't do this. Instead, what you need is a controller. In my case, I have a second Xbox 360 controller, which I've just plugged into my PC, which I bought online for about £2. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the fast travel button on both of these devices at the same time. I'm going to hit space on the keyboard and A on the controller. This can be repeated on any platform by just simply having 2 controllers or by plugging a keyboard into whatever else you use. So make sure to basically press your accept button on your controller and your keyboard at the same time, so like 3, 2, 1, bam, and suddenly you've now got a taxi to Bikini Bottom. Perfect, but we're actually going to back on out of this menu and we're going to go all the way up to wherever else we need to go. In our case, say we go to Sand Mountain. And so now that you've had the taxi appear for the place that you actually can go to a place which you can't go to, or the place that you want to go to, and basically do the same. If you scuff this up and don't get the timings right of pressing A and spacebar at the same time, then you're going to need to go back to Bikini Bottom and get the taxi screen again. So in our case, 3, 2, 1, go. And there we go. We can now take the taxi to Sand Mountain immediately and bypass another section of the game. What is Sand Mountain? I've never actually been here. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, now look at this beautiful place. It's fantastic. Glorious Sand Mountain. Should I be here? No, I really shouldn't. But here I am because the game let me, okay? Now there are so many issues with this game, so many different bugs. I mean, there's a whole multitude, from ones which don't actually make much of a difference to ones which I find to be exceedingly entertaining. For example, if you play as the character Sandy, you're actually able to do something quite impressive. If you just mash the jump key and the Sue key at the same time, your character can simply fly out of whatever level you're in. You can be standing still, just mash both of those buttons, and suddenly you'll escape the skybox. Truly is a marvelous sight to behold. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's how to beat an entire 6-hour game in around about 5 minutes, give or take how fast you like to defeat the final boss. Now, should you defeat the game in 5 minutes? Well, it's up to you. I mean, you can buy this game for its full price and play it for 6 hours like most people, and give it a score of 5 out of 10 on IGN. Honestly, I have no idea why they did that. Whilst, I mean, this game isn't necessarily 100% my cup of tea, it certainly is a labour of love and quite enjoyable. It's everything the existing game was, with a couple of fun things added in for the fans to enjoy, and I think that's pretty cute and admirable. So whilst I'm not particularly going to go out of my way and play the entirety of this game, I can still say that this game is very clear and obvious. I'm gonna go 7 or 8 out of 10. Well done, SpongeBob devs. Very good. Now, I don't normally cover things like this because it's certainly more of a speedrun side of thing than an exploit, but I just find it absolutely hilarious that the game can be beaten almost instantly. It does remind me of, I think, a game called Two Worlds, where you would be able to walk out of the tutorial zone, walk up to a random village, and the final boss would literally just be standing there. And if you kill the final boss, you effectively get the end game cutscene. So all you needed to do to beat the game was to lure the boss back into the village and have the village's AI guards just defeat him. I mean, I absolutely love silly games like this which allow you to just bypass the entire thing. I think it's great fun. Now, if you want to watch more SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, I've included some links and descriptions of the people who are trying to actually speedrun this thing. I'm pretty sure the current world record is down to finishing this game in 2 minutes and 19 seconds, and it was set upon the day of this game's actual public release, which is absolutely hilarious. I mean, sure, games normally have crazily low speedruns, but they normally don't get them on the first day of release. So congratulations to all of the people involved for finding that. Now, as much as I would love to make this video longer and show off more fantastical exploits and strange things in SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, I am quite literally melting to death here in the UK. Outside, it is 474 degrees, and if you so much as step out of your door with a cup of tea in your hand, the entire thing will evaporate instantly. Heck, it's not even cold enough in my office to play video games. I mean, I suppose that's also mostly because my fiance ran off with the fan that I have in here, but you know, as is the way with life. But nonetheless, I can still talk about what's going to be coming up on the channel. I'm sure many of you are aware that we have our fantastic, lovely little Minecraft server, which has been going on in the background, and it will continue to happen on most Saturdays coming up. We've got some interesting things planned for it, and I'm pretty excited to see where it goes. I'm sorry for the actual slowdown in videos on the channel at the moment. I realized that I normally try and upload one video, leave a gap of 2 days and upload another, but as of late, it's been a little bit all over the place. This is mostly because I've been doing some other projects with some other YouTubers in the background, and sadly they've kind of taken up a fair bit more time than I was expecting. But nonetheless, give it about another week and we should be back to the full classic Spiffing Brit schedule of uploading on time, or at least pretending to upload on time. Now, in terms of what we have planned for the future, well, there's a whole bunch of things that I'd like to do. We've got more Fallout 4 which needs to be broken. Skyrim, of course, is never ever going to go away. And there's even rumours of new games on the horizon which need to be broken, and oh my goodness, how could I even forget the Steam Summer Sale. I've already managed to find one exploit and it is rather entertaining, but I'm afraid it's quite small at the moment and so I can't really make it into a video. But provided I find some more exploits, well then it's Steam Summer Sale Exploits 2 Electric Boogaloo time. Right, I think that's all for today. If you have indeed enjoyed watching, then be sure to give this video a like. It does massively help us out. And heck, I'll also see you in the comment section down below, where I'd like to be gauging your opinion on what you'd like to see coming up on the channel next. This channel is effectively driven by you guys, so be sure to come up with some good ideas. If the ideas include just having me sit in a bar full of tea for 4 hours and talking, then very well, I guess. I don't actually know if I can do that. I'm not even sure of the effects of what prolonged tea would do to the human body, but I'm sure there's a scientific documentary out there about it. Nonetheless, thank you very much for watching. As always, a massive thank you to each and every one of my Patreons who make these fantastic videos all the more possible. Seriously, I wouldn't be able to do it without people like you. And I know it's been a rather short one this week, so you might want to watch something else of mine to keep your weekly spiff quota filled. And so I'd recommend this video here on screen now, hand chosen by myself to be absolutely perfect for you. Anyway, I hope all of you guys stay safe and have a nice weekend, and try not to melt to death. And I'll see each and every one of you in the next one. Have an absolutely lovely day, and goodbye for now.